All right, well, I'll wait until Albert comes back. I have an opportunity for advertisement, possibly, to the world.
The world.
My client didn't call me back, so they might call me back later.
Okay, just let us know, and he'll be part of episode 4, Talking Sip.
We'll see.
Just kidding.
Go ahead.
All right,
Oh, well, welcome to Talking Sip, episode 4.
Talking Sip, episode 4. Electric Boogaloo, squared. So
With Knuckles.
with Knuckles. So there is a comedian coming in September. Basically my birthday. Or no, it's
Birth month.
birthday and then 2 days after. So your
Okay.
brother's birthday.
Okay.
So he's filming a live special.
Okay.
So if we got legendary sip t-shirts made,
Hey.
we could be on a live special advertising.
Assuming they have camera pans to the audience.
Most, from what I see, most
Most specials do.
specials do.
Yeah.
And if we just stand up right when the camera's turned at us, maybe we could
If we're
advertise.
lucky enough.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
So I don't know what you guys think about the logo. I think the logo can be more simplified,
Sure.
streamlined. So we can come up with ideas, but I got some ideas
Okay.
we can discuss later.
be
But
fun.
we would have to get the shirts made before late September.
Yeah.
So we'll plan out.
We have a little bit of time.
We have a little bit of time. And I'm assuming we'll probably have to order like 10 shirts. So there's probably a minimum we'll have to order.
Mm-hmm.
So we can ship them out to friends.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss that.
Okay.
That's not the main topic. I don't even know what the main topic is.
I don't think it's a main topic. It's just a topic that John had in mind.
Yeah, and then we just start talking about other things.
Okay.
How far have you gotten in over your
I
time?
haven't touched it.
That's
Did you bring your
great.
game?
I did bring it. I
Oh,
just
nice,
didn't
nice,
touch it.
nice. Can I actually? Do you have it with you right now?
Yeah.
Can I see it?
I just haven't
Oh.
touched.
Albert.
I know. Oh, you just.
Yeah, just a game. Nice. Continue, John.
We were
You got blasters,
wondering.
at least.
That's great. It doesn't affect my disappointment in you not
I
playing
know.
this game.
I just haven't touched it.
We were wondering if you'd played any of it.
I know.
So
I
the
figured
fact
you
that-
didn't, but I'm not mad.
I'm not mad, but I'm not happy.
I wouldn't be happy with me either. Wait, why? Why did you? What are you doing?
Nothing.
Oh.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
ignore him.
Just ignore me right now.
So Albert, you know how Albert brought up the term like that
Which term?
when he said he had to poop.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about 4 o'clock spooky poopy?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I did not say that part.
That's
At
the
work,
exact
I didn't
words.
say that.
At work, we hired a new clinician, right?
Poop scientist.
No. At work, we hired a new clinician, and
He logs the logs. Day 1.
She's
Green.
been there for 3 weeks now,
Corn.
and she's very comfortable with talking about stuff like that. And I'm just
Yeah.
at what point are you comfortable with talking?
What point in the relationship are you comfortable talking
Yeah.
about exactly what?
Just being very open about
Bodily functions?
Well,
Yeah.
I would say in an environment where where you're working with clients, and it's a very, I feel, scientific or objective oriented environment, I think that's pretty normal. I would be comfortable with that too. Where bodily functions are common enough where you can talk about it.
Interesting.
I'd be okay with that too.
I don't know because my field is not as personal with clients. Not even personal training was
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that close with talking about personal details.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe to the point of oh, like I'm not feeling well today. I had a bad, I don't know, food
Stomach
poisoning the other
ache
day. I
or-
had a
yeah.
stomach ache, but
Yeah.
I'm not going into detail about their excretions or anything
Yeah.
like that.
I mean,
so,
did you talk about their diet?
a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit,
Mhm.
A little bit of the little bit variety.
yeah, but as a personal trainer, if you only have a certification for that, your it's out of your scope of practice to talk nutrition
Yeah.
specifics. You can talk about calories. You can talk about exercises and their potential to burn.
More
Calories.
Right.
But if you talk about specifics, let's just say, for example,
Yeah.
you have a client who is allergic to a specific fruit, and let's just say it's strawberries,
Yeah.
right? You say, oh, strawberries provide these nutrients, blah, 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 and maybe they've never had strawberries in their life, or maybe for whatever reason they just forgot they're allergic to strawberries, right?
And they consume it on
And
your.
they consume it on your recommendation.
Yeah.
Not good.
Liable.
So
Gotcha.
we don't talk specifics, and I've had jobs where they wanted you to talk specifics, and I told them I was clearly
you would refuse.
uncomfortable
Yeah.
talking about it because it's not, unless I had a degree or other specific certifications or trainings in that,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do that.
Otherwise, out of scope.
Out of scope of practice.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's not something I'd really talk about.
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
Yeah, the Talking Sip episodes are just us playing games and talking now. I don't know. I was just wondering. Like, it's just
I'd be comfortable with it too.
I don't know. I think with you guys, I think I'm okay with talking about personal details. I don't know, but talk about
with work people, right?
definitely with not with work people. I'm okay talking about family, depending on what the subject is.
Yeah.
Talking with my wife. I mean, that's the person I talk to most personal about things,
Yeah,
obviously. But it just depends, because I feel like not many people I would talk to about very personal bodily function stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know of people who were just totally open about, mainly females, about bodily function stuff. I'm like, I don't want to know about this. Like, we're friends. I don't know you in any personal way. And this
Yeah.
is like in high school mostly,
Right.
and maybe early college, but not like, I don't know. I don't have any friends currently besides Nicole and maybe you and family I would talk to like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird.
Okay. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like a small fly in my nose.
A small fly in your nose.
Yeah.
That's what you feel.
No, separately. But I feel I think whether I'm making it normal enough, but people overall have been making it normal enough to talk about that kind of thing, to be comfortable talking about their own bodies.
Yeah.
Mostly in a positive way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You comfortable
Nope.
talking about that? Even with us?
Like,
Sometimes,
okay,
right?
like after a while, like if I get to know a person for an extended period of time, then yes. Like you guys, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my coworkers, yes. But like 3 weeks in, where I just barely met you, I'm like, probably not yet.
Maybe she thinks you're cute.
Mm.
No, definitely not.
But I was,
What, you don't think you're cute?
No, definitely not.
as far as myself, as long as I know the other person is okay with it, then I'm comfortable talking about it with them too. I wouldn't
Yeah.
initiate, but
Yeah, I don't initiate conversations, but
yeah.
if someone brings up a subject, maybe I'll entertain their question
Yeah,
or
of
whatever
course.
it is, but I don't bring up like, oh, especially
Depends.
like stuff that involves like pee or poop, or even
Sure.
like sexual like stuff like that. I think that's not appropriate, especially in the workplace.
Yeah, not during work, in the
Yeah.
workplace, outside of work, maybe.
Yeah.
It depends on how comfortable you are with the other person.
Yeah. I don't really talk, like, I don't share sexual experiences most of the time. Even with like John, I think we've had maybe a couple conversations about
Maybe.
maybe,
Yeah.
and
You just don't.
It's
talk
just
about
kind of
that.
like a joke of
Yeah.
like, oh, blah 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 blah. Like, we're not gonna mention it on the podcast,
Right.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I'm the same way with that. I don't really
Yeah.
like. I get uncomfortable talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like that's not that's
it's
between-
kind of a,
For me, that's where I
very
would
personal.
stop.
It's very personal, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so not very many people.
No.
Not very many people. Is that was there a second part to that question?
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
It's after me talking about pooping at the middle.
Yeah,
of
I
the
was just like, wait a second, like,
Okay, so
when do you draw that boundary? Like, but
the description of it, maybe. It's where I stop it for your sake.
yeah, please, please do.
it's either got to be very close family or friends, or that's about it. Like
Mhm.
that's it.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a dumb joke. I'm gonna leave that.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that out.
All right, what were you gonna say? Were you gonna say something else?
Okay, so 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
You're not a very superstitious person. I don't
No,
believe you are.
Generally, no.
No. So you don't like. There's some people believe that there's a specific time in the night or morning, however
yeah.
you see it,
I'm aware.
of there's weird stuff that happens
Yeah.
around a specific time. You've ever had any experiences like supernatural, whether it be in that time or outside of that time?
During that time frame, I think and this is maybe just a weird like self-observation, but I think when I observe that time period,
Yeah.
like I'm aware it's 4 o'clock in the morning, then nothing bad actually happens. When I have nightmares, it's not because I'm aware of that time, it just happens.
Yeah.
Like the observation of the thing makes it not scary, actually.
Yeah.
But when I'm experiencing it, I'm not aware of the time. So I don't actually know if it's during that time period where superstitious things happen.
Thank you.
That's my experience.
Okay. All right.
I wouldn't know if it was during 4 o'clock in the morning if something bad was happening.
Mm-hmm. What about you, John? You're not very. I don't believe. Not what I've experienced from you. You're not very superstitious at all.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Do you believe in like ghosts? Anything like that?
I mean, I'm only aware of like superstitions, so that when I'm looking at it's 4:44 in the morning,
Yeah.
like it's that time of day, but
Yeah.
I'm also not fearful of it.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, what if something does happen at 4:44 in the morning?
I think I'm more like that. Like, not even just necessarily that time. Like, if I wake up in the middle of the night, and like you just stare into the void of darkness, and you're just
Yeah.
like, what if there's something right there?
Yeah.
Do you ever see like shapes? Do you imagine stuff in there, or do you just
No,
a fear of
just the fear
seeing
of
something?
Yeah. But I think that's more so from like movies. Like if I didn't see movies or anything like that, not just necessarily movies, but like just
Videos,
Content,
yeah.
I'd probably be okay.
Have you guys experienced sleep paralysis?
I have.
Yeah.
When I was younger, not
Yeah.
anymore.
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
No?
Like I think during puberty, really growing up, like that's
Yeah.
when I had it.
I had a wet dream once.
You had a wet dream once? Oh, too
Okay.
much information. That's not me, right?
Speaking of bodily fluids,
I wouldn't blame you.
but I think that's a common enough thing to happen to most people. What was the time frame you were talking about? Was it?
like I hear like anywhere from like midnight to like 3 o'clock,
Mm.
and then sometimes like 3:33, like all the numbers that people throw around. But
in Chinese culture, it's 4:44
4:44.
because the number 4 is very close to how you say the word death.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you say death in Chinese? 4. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Sorry.
In Mandarin and Japanese, it's very close.
It starts with an F.
She.
She. Oh,
Yeah.
but 4 in.
Each
In-
knee sun she go.
Okay. Dang, Mr. Noodles over here,
Well,
soggy
why?
noodles.
But in Mandarin and Japanese, I think it's very close or very.
It's
if you
close
change,
enough.
If you change the intonation,
Yeah.
it's the word death.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Intonation.
Incubation.
like enough where in casual conversation they use an alternate word for the number 4 in Japanese
Mm.
to just say the number 4 instead of the actual number 4.
I just didn't. I never knew that was a word.
Yeah.
The more you know.
The more you know.
The more you know.
I've had some sleep paralysis experiences where
Same.
I didn't realize it was happening,
I don't.
and so
yeah.
then after the fact I realized like
Right.
that was weird. That was a weird dream, but maybe it was you're partially asleep,
Right.
partially awake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that half REM sleep or that transition that you're kind of awake but you don't know you are.
Yeah. There was one instance where I thought I was sleeping, but I think I was in, whether it was in the current house or my parents' house, and I was
Mhm.
asleep, and I was like that feeling of not being able to move, but
Right.
being watched or being I don't know, haunted or something.
It feels like somebody's watching me. That one.
Hee hee. Yeah, that one. But I've had some instances of that, and I know sleep paralysis can be an effect of lucid dreaming,
Mhm.
which I've experimented with that before, trying to get into being able to control my dreams.
Mhm.
I always thought it'd be very useful if I could be functional in my dreams.
Right. That'd be interesting. You could still either think or remember stuff.
Yeah, like sort of like Doctor Strange, where you're like
Yeah.
studying in your sleep,
Just
sort
process
of
information.
process information.
That's cool.
I have packets of different topics, and one of them is I almost said sleep paralysis, but lucid dreaming.
Mhm.
And I haven't like practiced enough to get into it again, but I definitely do want to. But the possible consequence is sleep paralysis.
Interesting.
And so that's kind of like something that I don't want to like experience
Little
more
scary.
of, but I also think that if I experience more sleep paralysis, you'll be able to realize that you're in it and you're able to stop it.
Right. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Logically makes sense. I don't know if it's true, but
Yeah. I think you can. Like there's sometimes where I realize I'm in a dream and I have like a couple of seconds where I can do what I want and then I wake up because
yeah.
I wake up.
So it's like a battle of your conscious versus subconscious.
Yeah. Like not tapping into it enough that you like regain consciousness, but that
Mhm.
you're kind of interfering with it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Man, I was gonna say something else. This is gonna be.
Jesse's a weird one, guys. Sorry.
I kind of am weird.
Yeah.
So
It's okay.
I potentially started very briefly the workings of potentially a new conspiracy podcast.
Okay.
So there's a podcast
like
I
a theme
listen-
of the whole podcast.
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
I've designed logos and I've have some ideas of the name for it,
Okay.
but I haven't decided yet. But there is one specific podcast. I think it is the most entertaining.
Everyone. Jesse's not leaving the podcast.
Huh?
I said, relax, everyone. Jesse's not leaving the podcast.
I'm not leaving the podcast. If I do this, it will be in tangent,
Hmm.
not leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But this podcast is my favorite podcast of all time. I don't know if it's true.
Thanks. We worked really hard on it.
I mean, conspiracy podcast. We're not a conspiracy podcast.
Dang it.
So it's my favorite conspiracy podcast.
Yeah.
There is some criticism to this person's work, whether it's all based on fact or whether it's based on just kind of things that they've heard.
Hmm.
And the very brief stuff that I've researched have been factual. But there's a certain point where you need a VPN to research some of this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't started paying for a VPN yet, so I haven't
Is
started
it
researching.
because it's borderline illegal, or is it because it's hard to find,
Um,
or
maybe a little bit of both,
yeah?
and I don't understand why some of it would be illegal.
Hmm.
Um, if you are trying to, if you're trying to do good, if you're trying to,
Save the
um,
world.
if you're trying to get evidence for some of this stuff, right?
Mhm.
So that's the weird thing about what is legal and what is illegal.
Well, I guess depending on the U.S. government's point of view of what legal is, then that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's certain things that
Whether or not you're trying to do good,
yeah,
you
that
could try to do good with a type of bomb, but you're not going to be allowed to look it up
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's your interpretation of what good is. Versus a
true.
bomb can be definitely used for bad.
yeah. I know that, and I don't remember exactly what is allowed, but journalists are allowed to have specific access to information
Uh huh.
that general population are not.
Something with
And
Freedom of Press Act.
maybe, but I feel like journalism today is a perversion of what it used to be, or I feel like you can get better sources of information rather than mainstream journal or news.
Well, I think the problem is, and I agree, the problem is that it is still an industry and business where you have to make money,
Yep.
and certain ways of presenting or making news makes money.
It makes it more interesting, more
Right.
clicks, more interactions.
And that's money.
Yeah, which unfortunately, again, I guess it's not art versus business. It's just business versus truth at that point.
I would say there's an art form to it still.
Yeah, there's
but
still an art
yes.
form to it. Yeah,
But yeah, the same idea stands behind it's money first
Yeah.
versus the art or the act of it itself.
yeah. Whenever I hear something on the news or on a podcast or on a YouTube channel, I like to get the actual like source,
Yeah.
whether it's the video or an article.
Firsthand.
Yeah, and so
First person source.
it's just amazing what has been stretched or what's been like blatantly lied about. That I probably have hundreds of hours of archived videos
Mm-hmm.
of different things that have been manipulated or lied about.
Right. And the problem that's going to be increasing is videos that get manipulated.
Oh yeah, like deep fakes now.
Right.
And that's the scary part
Yeah.
of
And not even
what is true.
not even just deep fakes going forward, but just totally AI generated too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Not just deep fakes.
yeah. Um,
Whether it's a video, the audio, or both.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which is crazy. There's something that happened recently with Joe Rogan, and now he's suing one of the major companies because
Mhm.
of how they edited a clip to
Yeah.
endorse certain candidates.
Sure.
And I think that's pretty crazy because there's been a lot of stuff that they've lied about
Mhm.
on the news about Joe Rogan, and he hasn't like gone after them before. But now, from what I've heard, he's like this is something that he can't let stand now.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, I from my understanding, Joe Rogan's podcast is bigger than any one news. At least his reach is bigger.
Probably.
Yeah, and so I'm just wondering what's going to happen. I don't think much is going to change. Maybe besides that, they'll be a little bit more careful. Maybe not even that.
What are you,
because they're
what
so
are you talking about
powerful.
specifically that would change?
How they interact at least with Joe Rogan.
Who's they? The news station?
The news station.
Okay.
Yeah. Like CNN. That's not the one that's being brought up with the
But you're
lawsuit
saying
now.
it's a news station.
But it is a news station that has
Okay.
lied about certain things. But I just find it interesting that
But overall, I feel like nothing would change.
I felt like overall nothing will change.
Because there's still an individual can still make changes to what you or I or anyone could say
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, that's true. I try to I do all the things on YouTube like No remixing, no embedding, no, and people can still.
Yeah,
There's ways to download it, manipulate it,
course.
but we're not big enough really to
yeah. But
Yeah.
there's enough audio content of either three of us.
make us say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, which is pretty scary.
Right.
I can say like I like John, and
Well, you already said that, so.
dang it.
You just said it again.
This time it wasn't a whisper in your ear.
But yeah, that news station might interact with Joe
Joe Rogan
Rogan's
a little bit differently.
content differently, but
yeah,
I don't think that's going to change the rest of the internet.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. We went from talking about poop and pee up to talking
Into
about
conspiracy
slightly
and-
conspiracy.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
But overall, that's the downside of AI
Yeah,
and what people can do with it.
yeah,
And it's going to be, I feel, almost impossible to regulate.
yeah. We're way behind on how to regulate AI.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
moving too
just
fast.
The world's governments just react too slowly to changing things.
Yeah. I don't think that there's a big chance of AI becoming Skynet.
I feel there's big opportunity for that.
Really?
Yeah.
For it to get that bad? For it to like
Yes.
for AI to get smart enough to make changes to itself,
Yes.
to create infrastructure to create its own existence physically
Yes.
eventually?
Yep. Because what's the likelihood of using AI technology in a robot to help a manufacturing line
Yeah.
improve? Potential of
Hmm.
that to be connected to the internet, potential of that to
Oh yeah.
yeah.
To get out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Near future, no.
Yeah. You don't think so in our lifetime?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. All right.
But I feel it makes logical sense to me.
Eventually, maybe. So this is going to kind of lead into another thing. So the Ouija board. So you're not superstitious, right?
No.
But you are open to the idea that there is something different,
Yeah.
something more.
Because we just don't understand enough about
The
whether it's
universe
ourselves or anything.
Okay. Okay. So why are you afraid of the Ouija board as opposed to
More-
scary movies?
More of the scared of the unknown.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've talked about this with a couple coworkers before at previous jobs. So the Ouija board is supposedly a gateway to another dimension, something else, right? But why would interacting with a piece of paper or plastic be any different than you interacting with a movie and your mind being in the same possibly mindset? Darkness.
I feel a Ouija board or anything else physically interacting with purposefully is a medium that you're trying to use to connect with another thing. I feel, so far, my personal experiences with movies, music, doesn't give me that same feeling.
Have you played a Ouija board before?
No.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's just my thought
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
Interacting with a movie or even listening to music, which I know people believe also changes.
Changes. It's powerful. It
It's
moves you.
powerful.
It changes you. Right.
Right. Doesn't do that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it does for other people, but it doesn't for me.
Yeah.
And all I can do is observe my own experiences. So that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're not open to Ouija board experimenting.
Not really. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
No.
That sounds kind of weird. Just saying.
Sex
Not
with
with
a
you.
demon?
Not with you. Not with you.
It's got to be my wife.
But overall, yeah, I'm not interested in that. I don't.
So there's a couple things, and this is extending longer than I wanted to, but I
Sure.
want to get to another point.
Okay.
All right, so there's a couple conditions, to my understanding, that you need for a Ouija board to work.
Okay.
And these things are kind of like figuring out Santa Claus is not real, in my opinion.
Okay.
So Ouija board has to be played with more than one person. You can't do it by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of a red flag for me right there. If you were contacting spirits, I think it doesn't matter if you would have to be one person, 2 people, 3 people. I don't know. But it's kind of weird that it needs to be at least 2 people. Okay. From my understanding, you have to have your eyes open. It cannot be closed. So I would think if there was something interacting with you, it wouldn't matter if your eyes were open or not. So it's kind of weird.
And this is out of the general consensus of how to operate a Ouija board.
Yeah. I've done a little bit of research.
Okay.
And I've had no one brave enough, no
Okay.
one manly enough, not you guys. I'm talking about like my bosses at work.
So you do mean us.
I'm talking about like manly man. Like
Okay.
I
So
just
you
I
do
don't
mean
I
us.
don't mean
Nah,
this
screw you then,
offensively.
dude.
I don't mean this offensively.
Yeah, too late.
So there's people at work. They're like, "Ugh," like camel moaning men, like just.
Why does that matter?
Camel moaning.
I'm trying to find someone to Ouija with me.
Sure.
So
Sounds
I've
gay,
asked.
dude.
It is pretty gay. But my boss are like, oh yeah, like they'll talk pretty tough. I'm like, all right, let's do the Ouija board. Oh no, I don't mess with that. Oh, why not?
I mean, I feel. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but is that a God-fearing
I think it's a
thing?
spiritual thing. Yeah,
Because if it's a religious thing that you
Yeah.
don't mess with that stuff, is
Yeah.
that part of it?
maybe, but I think, and I think I'm decently spiritual, maybe not religious,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's always been a weird contradiction in my mind that whatever God you believe in your religion is all powerful,
Mm-hmm.
but you still fear whatever that devil figure is,
Mm-hmm.
even though you believe in this all powerful being that supposedly is there to protect you. You don't think that they would intervene
Mm-hmm.
to protect you if you're even dipping a little bit into that. It's a weird.
As devil's advocate,
Yeah.
I think from that point of view, as to be contrarian to you, that your God
Yeah.
is only able to give you the power to resist it.
Yeah. But once you let open the door,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
you've made your choice.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I
don't
always
know
thought
if
that was
that's
weird
actual
because
scripture or anything, but yeah.
I don't know either.
Right.
Like there's that saying, if God is all powerful, can he create a rock that he cannot lift, right?
Right.
And so is the devil the rock he cannot lift?
Thought process.
Maybe. Yeah.
But
Or
I
is-
think in
or
scripture,
is-
God did create the devil, right?
I mean, he's created everything, right? He created
Right.
angels. I'm assuming that means maybe he didn't. The devil chose to be the devil, but
And was a previous angel, right?
yeah, fallen angel,
Yeah.
right? Lucifer.
Yeah.
I feel like not for making my life better, but I think that understanding literature,
Mm-hmm.
the Bible is a good source where people take from. So
Right.
if I were to read the Bible, I think I'd understand maybe more archetypes
Same.
better.
Same.
And so I eventually want to get to it, but it's kind of boring.
I mean,
Honestly,
like anything
it
else.
kind of is.
I mean, it's a book. It's a
but,
story.
But I find the stories interesting, but
Yeah.
me physically reading it is hard. And there's also words and phrases that are
Oh,
very
dude, the words are
tough.
the worst part.
yeah, the way that it's phrased, I'm like, oh man, like I can't get through this. Like
I mean,
it-
like anything else, then just do an audiobook version so you could listen to it while
James
you're
Earl Jones, Darth Vader reading the Bible.
AI version.
AI,
I don't-
AI.
I'm sure there
That would
is.
be a creepy way to read the Bible. Anyways, so I want to get to this. So,
Sure. Okay.
so do you think
Finally.
the Ouija board is an informational hazard?
Informational hazard.
Like if you
Explain.
share it on podcast and you expose people to it, that you're doing something bad.
Exposing people to the idea of
The,
what a Ouija board can do.
Yeah, like maybe someone's never heard of the Ouija board before,
Okay.
and oh, that's kind of curious. It's kind of like legalizing all drugs, right? It's a stretch, but if drugs were
Decriminalized or legalized? I feel
decriminalized or either one.
I feel there's a difference
there's a
there. I don't know
difference.
the exact
Yeah.
definition, but I think there
Yeah.
is a difference there.
Yeah, decriminalizing meaning, yeah, I guess, but legalizing
It might not be a felony,
Yeah,
but you
but-
could still get arrested for it.
yeah, because of
Depending
your
on-
actions.
Depending on use or sale of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or possession.
So in that similar way,
Okay.
if you legalize all drugs, you expose people to these,
Sure.
and maybe it's not as a temptation because it's legal.
Because people want to do something
That's taboo,
against the grain.
right?
Okay.
So, in that same way, we're introducing the idea of the Ouija board to people that I don't think people are going to. We have like 50 subscribers. So, like, what are the chances that one person out of the 50 tries the Ouija board because they've never heard of it?
Okay.
I don't know. So, there's informational hazards
Okay.
in this that people believe that maybe one of them being the Ouija board that shouldn't be expressed in any media.
So you're just saying the fact of talking about it should be taboo
M-
as a possibility.
Maybe some people think that.
Okay.
I think people can talk about whatever and it's fine. So there is a thought experiment that scared me for a couple of weeks.
Mm.
And it's kind of based on faith and AI at the same time.
Okay.
And I don't want to share it with people because supposedly it does cause psychological damage
Mm.
in forms. But is there anything that I don't know if information hazard is something that's been in a term that's been in your mind before, but is there anything that's you can think of? You don't have to share it, but
Overall, I feel I don't believe in those because being aware and understanding it
is better.
is better than not being aware of it and then
Mm.
potentially accidentally repeating something.
But the purpose of the thought experiment is, the idea of it is, the more people that know about it, the more chances and the faster it will happen.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Like
potential.
potential.
I
Is-
feel it's possible, but it's more Matrix-like
Yeah.
concept than Matrix-like sci-fi than like
Potential?
reality. Yeah,
Interesting. Because we talked about
I think we've talked about the exact thing you're talking about.
have we? I don't think I've mentioned it
think so.
before.
Starts with an R.
Oh, it does start with an R. Yeah.
Okay.
We have talked
So
about
yes,
yeah.
we have.
Okay. Not on the podcast though.
No,
Yeah, I wouldn't share that with people.
no.
Yeah, I have packets of that as well,
Mhm.
of like the research that went into it and
Mhm.
the whole story behind it's very interesting. I do like scaring myself, not like chasing a tornado, adrenaline, that type of stuff. But conspiracies is kind of like that, where you get that excitement, that adrenaline, but you're not actually in danger.
Yeah,
So
not yet.
I think, yeah, unless
Assuming the conspiracy is not true.
especially yeah, with that one in
or
particular.
if it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is the first kind of thought experiment / conspiracy that started me on my little
Yeah, I feel
cruise.
the only way that is true if it's a possibility within your own lifetime.
But there's the argument for that and against that.
I know.
too. Yeah.
But I feel it only affects me in my lifetime if I know it will affect me in my lifetime.
Mm. Unless the
Unless the computerization of myself happens.
and then or the soul is something that can be replicated, right?
But I feel it can't.
No.
No.
Okay.
I feel my memory could be, potentially, because it's electrical impulses in my brain.
Yeah.
But I feel that's a separation.
Your existence
I
cannot
think-
be. But we can extend it, right? With medicine, we can extend our
Current life.
consciousness,
My
right?
current life.
But we can't duplicate that.
I feel my current life is different from my consciousness.
That's true. That's true.
I feel, but I mean, I haven't interviewed a vegetable, so I don't know.
Yeah, you're talking about
Oh,
a person.
a live person that is
Who-
not conscious.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Uh-huh.
These dudes went down a crazy trip from poop.
Let's go back to the poop.
Poop conspiracies.
No, but that's like I said, that particular thought experiment was
Yeah,
interesting to me.
but generally, I don't believe in informational hazards.
No?
I'd rather have people learn from history, and I think that's more important
Yeah. Yeah.
than potentially harming themselves because they don't know about a thing.
The ignorance portion of it,
Right.
not knowing or preventing or maybe
Mhm.
stumbling upon it by accident.
Knowing about a thing, I feel, is better as prevention than not knowing about a thing and not
Yeah. I agree.
talking about it.
We should say right now. No, I'm kidding. I don't think it's
I mean, I wouldn't mind talking about it
yeah
because I don't believe in it,
Yeah.
but I understand.
I feel like there are certain people who will process it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And although I don't believe in it,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a slight chance of it being
you
possible.
give it some credit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a very interesting. I think I might have mentioned it at one of the Harry Potter, or I hinted at it
Yeah.
at one of the Harry Potters. So I guess you can figure it out sort of based on the clues that we've given you, but
Right.
how would you say your ability to search on the internet is based on very little information? So if you're given a clip,
Okay.
and it's just a very brief clip, do you think that have you looked for a small clip and found the entire clip before? Like very brief, like 2 seconds.
I mean, as long as there's enough quotable words that are unique enough.
What
to
if
that
it's just
clip.
a sound?
I mean, if I know how to describe the sound
Yeah.
in a way that I understand SEO works, yeah.
Okay. Because in the past I've found like a 1 second, 2 second, like within the compilation, and I was like, what is this from?
Sure.
And I found it after a couple of
Yeah.
hours.
I feel anyone could do that as long as they understand enough about SEO.
Yeah.
Whether they know what SEO actually is, but if they know how Google works in their head,
Yeah.
that's not hard.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I thought I was good at it, but maybe I'm just average.
I mean, maybe you are. You're
Yeah.
probably above average, to be fair.
Ooh.
But like, I feel if somebody's trying hard enough, they eventually learn how Google or whatever search engine they're using works.
Yeah. I did another thing like that this week of my favorite conspiracy, that same conspiracy. So he's been on the podcast before, and he's mentioned specifically and about the time frame, and there's something weird with that podcast that caused him to either upload 10 episodes in one day or have to re-upload. Something very weird. Well, that's another conspiracy in itself.
Okay.
But I actually found out this person's information, which podcast he's been on. But the other podcast that was the host of does not exist anymore,
Okay.
which is very weird.
So it was never re-uploaded, or there's no other videos of it.
Yeah, I'm looking for it, but I can't find it.
Okay.
And I love searching for things that either have been censored
Yeah.
or manipulated.
Lost media.
Yeah, I love lost media.
Yeah.
There's a episode of Sesame Street with the Wicked Witch of the West. That's Elmo's world. Different.
Whoops.
But there's an episode of Sesame Street with the
Mhm.
Wicked Witch of the West that was supposedly so terrifying that it got lost
Right.
in the
It was pre-internet.
Yeah.
So nobody saved it.
but they found it.
They found it.
Yeah, and then they found it.
They found the VHS or a recording of it somewhere.
Somehow they got a hold of it.
Somebody could have taped it
Yeah.
when it was airing.
Yeah, I think that was the case, that there was one individual that had taped either Sesame Street or just TV in general,
Yeah.
and it was saved in physical.
Yeah, there's a lady famous for that. She just
Yeah.
recorded TV 24/7.
That's amazing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love lost media. That's a rabbit hole I dive into.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah, you've talked about it.
icebergs for lost media. I love
Yeah.
iceberg videos too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how I heard about that Banda movie that I got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You like lost media, John, or you just don't care for it?
I just don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just in my own world, doing my own thing. Basically, this whole talking ship episode. Once we went into like the deep dark stuff, I was just like,
It's not that dark.
no,
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, so maybe you're a fan of this, but, and I'm not attached to it either. Yeah,
Oh.
you. But video games and video game rights and DMCA and that kind of stuff, where publishers don't want to sell a game anymore. And I
Yeah.
guess this is related to piracy, but like,
Yeah.
are you allowed to save the game of Tetris off of your Game Boy Nintendo
Yeah.
because Nintendo doesn't want to sell Tetris anymore?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to save that, put it online, and distribute it because Nintendo doesn't want to sell it anymore? And same thing with the Internet Archive is another similar thing where
Oh yeah. They've
saving
gotten-
things online to preserve history
preserve history.
just
Yeah.
because a web host or somebody doesn't want to pay for a server anymore.
Yeah. Licensing issues.
Yeah, should
or-
that go away?
Yeah.
Because somebody that owned it doesn't want to share it anymore
Mm.
when it was previously public in the public.
Yeah. After what, 70 years, stuff becomes common public domain?
I think 77 now.
77 now?
Which was what I think the original Mickey is now.
Yeah.
Steamboat Willie, technically.
Steamboat Willie, yeah. So I think that's the hard part. I think once the original creators have no interest in it and
It should just be
they,
public at that point.
I think,
What it used to be.
yeah, I think that's how it should be. I think it's unfair to erase history because you are being selfish, or you see that there's no point, or you won't make the money that you think. I think that's pretty selfish.
I think a big reason why Disney pushed copyright law for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there's still some people that are going to play Mario Odyssey 3 or whatever in like 10 years and then be like, how did Mario start? And if there's no way to play Super Mario or
Mhm.
to play Mario 64, that's going to be the
Mhm.
disservice. They're going to see videos of it,
Mm-hmm.
but they're gonna have to hunt down a copy of a 64, an old
Right.
game, an old console, a controller that works, like, versus that you can. I mean, this is there's still, with Mario and Zelda, there's still playable in other forms. So
Right. But from
unless
But-
those go away,
But then you're talking about like the
Yeah.
older forms, like if I wanted to go play Twilight Princess or Wind Waker, like the effort to go do that, if I don't have those systems, is harder than just
right.
I got you, bro. I got those. I'll lend you them.
I have
you're
the
going
systems,
into-
but
But
that's
you're-
not what
But
I'm.
you're going into piracy and emulation,
Yeah.
which, as far as Nintendo is concerned, they don't want.
Yeah, it's because it's gonna hurt. There's an argument that it hurts, but also helps them as well.
Exactly.
But
But they don't care about what hurts or helps them. They
They
just
just
care
want
about what they think
what
as
makes-
lost revenue.
yeah, it's lost revenue. Yeah,
when they're
that's
not
hard.
even selling it anymore.
Yeah, I think if they're not selling it, there's an argument to be made. But if they are selling it, they're making an effort to distribute it. Then that's kind of
Right.
gray area.
Then technically you should be buying it if
Yeah.
they're still selling it. But
I like to support my things I enjoy.
mm-hmm.
I buy all the Zelda, all the Mario, all the games that I want.
Mm-hmm.
I like to
Pokemon.
own them. Pokemon.
But you're also saying the opposite. That
Yeah.
you're not, if you don't want to support them, you're not going to buy it.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm pirating stuff that I don't want. If I don't like it, then I'm not gonna entertain that, right?
And that's just dumb.
But but what about kind of in the middle ground where you like a media, but you don't like the person selling it?
And then I don't support that specific creation.
So you wouldn't even watch it
Mm-mm.
by pirating it.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. It
Mm.
just depends on what it is. If they share a different political opinion, perfectly fine. Most of Hollywood shares a different political opinion. than
You
me.
don't even know the CEO of Sony, for example, that
Yeah.
might be hosting Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know, but like Andrew Garfield has opinions that I don't agree with. I still watch his Spider-Man.
Like, how far does it go? Do you care about the political affiliation of the person behind the scenes of Spider-Man? Like, you don't.
No,
But they're still getting paid by the
they're
production.
still getting paid. Yeah, they're still getting paid. I understand the argument. It's hard to exhaust all of those avenues.
It's impossible, I feel.
And I can do it. But it's
go
not
through
worth
the whole
time.
credits.
It's not gonna. it's
Google
not-
their...
yeah, but it's not worth the time.
exactly.
It just depends on what the person is doing. If
What the main persons you feel are the main persons?
the main people, yeah. Like if it's a director, if it's an actor, if it's like a screenwriter, if it's producers like that.
Yeah.
But if it's like a little extra in the background, or if it's a person working on animation, like they're not gonna have a big pool in it. So I think, and they're not benefiting as much as some of the bigger players. But it just depends. Like if I found out that, and to take this out of context, don't do this. But I found out like Andrew Garfield was like a serial killer, which he's not. I don't know of this, so no evidence
Or
for.
Shia LaBeouf was a cannibal.
Or Shia LaBeouf was a cannibal, which I don't have any evidence for. So
There's
don't
just
cut
that
this.
song, but
Yeah.
who knows?
So, like, if any of that, like, maybe I would not support them. It's just like it just depends on how bad something is. But if someone's like, "Oh, I didn't vote for this person," blah blah blah, I don't care because that's less consequential than someone harming other people.
So, just...
Yeah.
And I know it's another random scenario
Yeah.
that you could just wave away.
What's
But
up?
what if it's a big executive producer that doesn't really put their name out there as a director or otherwise, but is a big executive producer that you know their affiliation with
Yeah.
a movie that you love?
Yeah. It's still in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Then
Like, for, I guess, common big example is Weinstein.
yeah.
Like, are you
Yeah.
going to stop watching all Weinstein movies because of his affiliation with them, even if he wasn't a director, but he was a producer on it?
No, but I keep that in mind.
Right.
Keep that in mind.
But what does that do to his legacy's pocket line?
Yeah,
like,
it's
it
true.
still makes money.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect either, but
Yeah.
that's a big...
It's
No,
hard.
pretty-
It's
it's,
hard.
it's a big thing for people to boycott.
Oh, Albert's perfect. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
His closest thing to perfect we have.
Same thing with Nestle. Like,
yeah.
do
Yeah.
you want to support Nestle? No.
Yeah.
Half the store is Nestle, though. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even like it's very
You have
like
to live with
weird.
that. You have to live with that.
Yeah, in your mind. Like every time I see like an Apple commercial, and it's just very weird because
Sure.
there's certain situations or how it's being made or the materials made for it is
Sure.
not humane. Or
Technically, all electronics.
yeah,
with
yeah,
With cobalt and
yeah, everything. That it makes
certain
me.
materials.
It makes me. It's weird because it makes me buy. I want to buy the least amount of phones in my lifetime
Sure.
because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
which is good. You want to consume less,
consume less. Yeah,
but you have to. It's a evil.
yeah, it's a necessary evil, which
Terrible term.
it's
That has to exist.
yeah. And it doesn't have to,
It
but it
doesn't
makes
have-
it
yeah.
life very much more convenient.
It does.
Yeah, which is something that I struggle with a lot. I'm like, like, do I really need this new phone, or do I go see? Like, I see less movies now because
Mm-hmm.
of my view of Hollywood and stuff like that, and maybe some of the weirdness of it, or the weirdness behind the scenes. So I think maybe that's not why you guys, besides movies, I think taking a decrease in quality is also stuff that I just don't. I want to see as least amount of movies as possible that are newly released, and I mean, I guess old ones don't directly support stuff, but if I buy them secondhand, it's not as
Right.
affecting.
Right.
Yeah, so
I guess we stick to DVDs that we buy off of
Yeah.
Goodwill.
yeah, I love DVDs. I still
I'm
buy
not mocking it. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
like, is that what we have to do then?
yeah Goodwill or other secondhand stores.
Right.
Yeah, which I mean, I do love a good bargain. Like
Yeah, but like that means not watching it off of streaming sites or Vudu
oh yeah, that's why I try
or
it.
Amazon.
Like the only streaming service that I directly support besides Crunchyroll is Vudu, and then I don't support
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, I Amazon Prime is because
Okay,
of
well,
shipping.
you keep
But-
on. There
but-
God. Yeah.
But there has been, in my mind, if it were up to me, I would cancel my Amazon subscription.
Sure.
But Nicole likes fast shipping.
Yeah.
But for me, I'll wait a week or two for something to come.
Yeah.
I've waited 6 months for to receive. I've waited a year to receive
Certain
a
things,
statue and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. So, to me, I don't like. I'll
Right.
wait. Like if and this is like an idealistic view of the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been spoiled since Amazon came along with 2-day
Yeah.
shipping.
Yeah, I think that, and this would make everything so impractical and so expensive that you wouldn't want to buy it, but you having to customize or order something online, like if you couldn't go to a car dealership, right?
Sure.
And you had to like go on the website and you had to put in an order, and then they would have to make it, and then that way of doing things is so
I mean, that's not a good business model for the
it's
business
not
themselves.
yeah, but I think if people I don't know how to put it in a way, if you made things either more expensive or less convenient, these things would be bought less.
Yes, from but that's a governance point of view
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
feel people would not want,
Yeah, I know.
and it's also a business point of view that businesses will not.
Yeah,
want.
they would know.
So, like-
it makes it hard.
It's too
yeah.
utopian
Yeah, it's too utopian.
to work.
Yeah, definitely. I do understand that it makes things unreasonable, unsustainable,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's weird. Long talking sip.
Yeah, they went down a dark rabbit hole. I was just here to facilitate.
Just a peek in that dark hole.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Oh, I can go on for hours, bro.
We could.
But I think we should end it here.
All right, we'll end it here then. This has been the Talking Sip episode
Quattro.
4.
Oh, wait, did you meant 4 and death? What was the connection of that beginning?
Yeah.
The Chinese thing.
About the time?
444.
Oh, and now
Or
we're
numbers.
Mm-hmm.
how the numbers line up. This is the haunted episode right here.
Oh.
And we didn't even get some of the crazy ones.
Yeah, we'll see you guys later.